In this video, you will learn the 6 steps to becoming a priority in your man's life. So if you're dating a man who makes you feel more like an option than a priority, then this is the video for you. Don't go anywhere because we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello and I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and then hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, how to become a priority in his life. Most of you are probably familiar with the saying, don't make someone your priority when you are simply their option. It's a quote that's been going around for a while and it really resonates with people because it's so relatable, yet it's profound. And here's the reason. When you are a man's second option rather than his priority, you're fooled into thinking that you matter. Except it's really not true. Instead, you're just getting bits and pieces of this man's attention when it's convenient for him or when he doesn't have something better to do. But somehow you're hanging on to the hopes that things will turn around and he will recognize your value and make you a priority in his life. And as you know, being in this state of limbo and being his second choice and knowing that you are not a priority is a very frustrating and painful place. The good news, you're going to learn the 6 steps to turn things around. Oh, and then I'm going to share the most important point of this whole video. So make sure that you stick around to get that last and most important point. Okay, so how do you know when you're an option and not his priority? Well, first, he doesn't consistently return your calls or texts. Notice I didn't say instantly, I said consistently. There's a difference. I mean, people have work and school and other obligations and can't always be immediately available, but consistently means that the person is excited about you and they're eager to stay in touch and communicate with you. So if he's busy, he might not be able to respond right away, but he always responds and usually explains his delay. Now, if he goes days and days without returning your phone calls and texts and then acts like it's no big deal, yeah, you're probably not a priority. Number 2, he only makes plans that are convenient for him. In other words, he doesn't go out of his way to see you. A guy who makes you a priority will make efforts to show you how special you are to him. Actions speak louder than words here. A man can tell you anything that he wants, but if he's not willing to put in the effort to go out of his way to show you how special you are, well, then something is wrong. Number 3, he makes excuses instead of making time. No matter how busy a man is, he either makes time for you or he makes excuses for you. If you or your relationship is important and a high priority, he will find the time or he's gonna make the time for you. If he doesn't make time, your relationship is just not a high priority at this time. But, and this is important, it's not necessarily a reflection of you. It could simply be that this man is too focused on other goals. The problem is that maybe he shouldn't be dating at all, especially if he's sending mixed messages or leading people on. And this is one that strikes close to home for me, so forgive me for sharing this. But I don't really date that much at all for this very reason. I can't even tell you the last time I went on a date. I just feel too busy and haven't made the time that a relationship deserves. So rather than lead anyone on, I just haven't been dating. And that reminds me of a meme that I wrote a few years ago. A relationship is a full-time job. Don't apply if you're only available part-time. Oh, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm building like a new set to make videos, and I just got this in the mail and I'm so excited about it. This is like my favorite pillow of all time. Anyway, back to the video. Number 4, he tells you he's not ready for a relationship. This is a popular one that both men and women use when they're not into someone. If a guy is telling you up front, I'm not ready for a relationship, but he wants to continue dating and hanging out, it's likely that you're an option rather than a priority. Because remember, half of the motivation for getting into a relationship and getting into commitment is because you don't want your partner to be single and available to fall in love with someone else. So if he's not worried about you dating other people, you're likely an option. Okay, so how do you turn things around and become his priority? Well, follow these steps in order and things are sure to turn around. Number 1, stop initiating communications. If you want a man to recognize your value and importance in his life, you must pull away. So do not initiate calls or text to him. Notice I didn't say ignore him or stop communicating. I'm saying stop being the one that is always looking for him and starting the communication. In other words, you're not the one who's going to be starting the day with a good morning call or text. Instead, let him do it. Eventually, he will recognize the difference and wonder why you've suddenly gone silent on him. Let him feel a little down and realize he was happier when things were different. Oh, and make him wait before you return his calls and texts. I understand the urge to respond back immediately, especially if you've been waiting to hear from him for a while, but taking some time before responding to his contact sends the message that you are busy and not just sitting by your phone waiting for him to reach out. Have patience and take your time before responding. Doing so will certainly increase his yearning for you. Number 2, become scarce. This can be difficult to do because when you like someone, you want to spend as much time with them as possible. But that can often backfire because when you are constantly available, you're diminishing your value. That's why you need to start being a little less available. Think about the law of scarcity. We all know this one. People want what they can't have. Things that are scarce are more valuable. If your time is scarce, it has more value. So don't be so available. When he calls to ask you out last minute, wait, let me stress this point. When he calls you with a last minute request or invites you out last minute, you must decline his request. Do not accept last minute plans with him. Instead, offer him an alternative time when you're available for a date, and this will make him prioritize and plan his time with you. Number 3, be a little bit mysterious. That means that you don't have to share every detail of your daily activities with him. You don't need to over-explain every little thing that you're doing. You want him to wonder and to develop intrigue. It's okay if he's a little worried too. Remember, before he won your heart, he was a little bit anxious and worried that you might even reject him. So when you have plans with your friends, tell him you have plans with your friends. You don't have to go above and beyond to make him feel at ease about what you're doing. Remember, you want him to appreciate you and your time, and you want him to remember your value as a friend. So let him wonder, and if he needs to ask, let him do that too. Number 4, let him invest in you. People care more when they put more effort into their relationships. So let your partner invest in you. And when he does, he will be increasing his feelings of love and appreciation for you. But how do you get him to invest in you if you aren't his priority? Well, there are a few ways. For example, if he wants to see you, make him come to your side of town. Let him drive to you and pick you up. Don't make it so easy. Make him work for it. And when you are with him, ask him to help you with small favors. For example, you could ask him to help you with some work that you need completed, or ask him to help you solve a problem. See, when he helps you with something, he is investing his time and energy into you, and he will be valuing you and appreciating you more as a result. Another way he can invest, instead of you agreeing to watch football with him all day, ask him to binge watch a show with you that you both would enjoy. And when he loves it, you now have something more in common. Remember, the more he invests, the more he will like you as a result. I know it seems counterintuitive, but trust me, we appreciate and value the things we work hard for. This one is super important, so find a way to incorporate it. Number 5, prioritize your needs and put yourself first. Sometimes people go out of their way to show the person that they're dating how much they like them. They jump at every opportunity to talk and hang out and text. And usually that's a good thing, but not if you're trying to raise your value or trying to get him to make you a priority. In this case, you need to take the attention off of him and put it back onto yourself. Go out with your friends and have fun. Do something for you. Take up a new hobby or do something that you enjoy. And this forces him to recognize your independence and that you're not just sitting by the phone waiting for his calls. Remember, one of the most important things that men find attractive in women is independence. He's got to know how full and complete your life is. And if he becomes part of it, it's because you want him to be part of it, not because you need him to be part of it. Remember, he needs to see you as a high-value woman with an exciting life. And when he sees you that way, he is going to want to be a part of it. And to be part of your life, he needs to make you a priority. Number 6, be willing to walk away. You must be willing to walk away from someone and something if it isn't working. This one is super important. He must know that you aren't willing to settle, that you aren't going to tolerate behaviors or actions of his that you don't agree with, and that you're not anyone's second choice. In addition, in order for him to really appreciate you, he needs to experience this fear of loss, essentially the fear of losing you. But he will only experience this if he knows that you are willing and able to walk away from something that isn't right for you. And that brings me to the most important point of this video. If you spent some time doing all of these steps and you find that he still isn't prioritizing you or the relationship, then you must walk away with your head held up high. Look, I know it's not easy to accept the fact that a person doesn't want a relationship with you, or that a man hasn't made you a priority. It hurts, and it hurts a lot. And that's because people deeply personalize romantic rejection to the point of attaching their value and self-worth to whether or not a man wants them. But when you do that, you give away your power and rely on the validation of a man to tell you that you're good enough. Let me repeat that. When your self-worth and value is attached to whether or not some man wants a relationship with you, then you're giving up all of your power, hoping to get validation from him. So if he doesn't want you, you start to question yourself and ask, what's wrong with me? And that's the opposite of the way you should be thinking about it. The question you should be asking is, what's wrong with him? Think about it this way. This is a man who hasn't known you very long. He's just a person you went on a few dates with. He doesn't know you or your value. And your value and worth has nothing to do with his perception of you. After all, his perception is simply based on his imagination and the limited interactions that he's had with you, both good and bad. So take your power back and trust the process. Regardless of how badly you want him, if he isn't into you, accept this fact and trust that it's meant to be for your well-being and for his. It's not personal, and it says absolutely nothing about your value as a human being or how lovable you are or whether or not you will ever find Mr. Right. Giving your power away by basing your worth on someone else's opinion of you will always create emotional suffering. But when you shift into what you want instead of whether or not someone wants you, you gain so much freedom and you move forward with confidence. Check out this video for more about how self-love changes the way you date. Or click here to watch a video that YouTube thinks that you'll like. I'll see you in that video.